question. I just want to take some time to thank you for having me back on the Stroke of Genius show. I really appreciate being back here. I appreciate some of the feedback and the comments that the previous videos have generated, and I'm happy to be back to answer one of the questions that are stemmed from the feedback. So again, thanks for having me. I really appreciate being here. I didn't have any tuition or teaching in physics before I got into Achimota School. But once I got into Achimota School, one of the first things that I did was I took the Ghana Association of Science Teachers physics textbook, the physics gas as it's fondly referred to us. So I took that and I went through it cover to cover. And as I went through it, what I was doing was I was taking note of what I felt I understood to a basic fundamental level, and what I didn't understand. And when I say basic fundamental understanding, what I mean, regardless of whatever subjects that you're studying, um, if you're able to explain it to a child or to someone who doesn't have any formal training in that particular subject area, be able to explain it to them in a way that they can understand it, and even they're able to teach it to someone else, then you understand it. You fundamentally understand. That's kind of how I gauge fundamental understanding. And so I did that with the physics gas. I went through it cover to cover, and I noted the things I could understand and the things that I didn't understand. Um, and then for the things that I didn't understand, I went to other sources. So two physics textbooks that I remember very clearly that I went to for concepts that I didn't understand. Basic Physics by Carl Kuhn, a very good text, physics, high school physics textbook, and Conceptual Physics by Paul Hewitt. So I went to these books to continue to try to improve my understanding to a point where I could explain it to other people. It's very critical, and I was very fortunate to have very good teachers at Achimota School. My physics teacher, Mr. Benezakwa, I remember him very, very clearly, because I used to worry him a lot with a lot of questions on things that I didn't understand in physics. And so I think, it's kind of a key point that I want to hamper on a little bit, is sometimes our students, I'm not sure why, but we have a tendency not to want to ask questions. And I think, as you go through any subject matter, ask your teachers questions. In my case, I always bug Mr. Kwa with physics questions that as I went through the gas and these other textbooks that I mentioned, as I wanted to gain deeper and deeper understanding, I always went back to him and to bag him with questions and to try to get better understanding. So, I implore high school students, college students, always bug your teachers with questions to gain deeper and better understanding. I think another thing that I did as well was I tried to solve a lot of questions. So there's this book, I think it's like 2,000 or 3,000 problems solved in physics. I'm trying to remember. I think it's by Alvin Haprin, I think is the name. But the key point I'm trying to make is that as you read these books and you try to get understanding, try to solve questions, try to solve practical questions, try to look around your try to look around and see what practical issues can you solve with some of the things that you're learning, be it physics, be it chemistry, be it math. What are some of the practical things that you can solve? So I know in Ghana, there's a tendency we want to based on the way our exams are kind of set up, you want to chew and you want to pour. But I think, trying to get understanding, trying to solve practical problems, trying to make sure that your knowledge is actually practical, it can better your life or it can better the life of someone else. I think that is more critical than trying to chew and to pour. I actually think that once you get that practical understanding, it actually helps you in the exams. You don't have to memorize things so much. It becomes more natural, because you can kind of see the practical uses of what you studied, and it's easier to remember and to recollect things that way if you can relate them to your surroundings, to practical issues that you can use that knowledge to solve. It's very, very, in my experience, it's easier that way, to be able to recall concepts, that way.